Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome to the channel, guys. Let's talk about Clemson and Ohio State from last night. Clemson beats Ohio State in the Fiesta Bowl, the college football playoff semifinal, 29-23. They win their 29th straight game. They advance to play LSU in the national championship. For the Buckeyes, they fall a little bit short. They end the season 13-1 with a Big Ten championship, but they left so much on the table in last night's game. And as a lifelong diehard Ohio State fan, this is a devastating loss. This one's going to sting for a long time. It's not going to go away because you don't know when you're going to get this opportunity again. We've missed the playoffs the last 2 years. This year we were in it. We had, in my opinion, the best team in college football. This was our chance. We're going to lose so many guys to the NFL this year. And yes, Ohio State will reload like they do every season, but this was a great opportunity to go win a national championship, and Ohio State left it on the table. So this loss is not going to go away. It's going to hurt for a long time. But I can't even imagine how the players feel, right? How hard they worked all season. This being their last game at Ohio State. We'll see who's going to leave, who's going to stay. Maybe a couple guys decide to stay because of this crushing loss. But I want to talk about all the controversy that happened in this game, how this game played out. I know a lot of Ohio State fans are really pissed off with the officials, and they have a right to be. I don't care what anybody says. Ohio State fans have a right to be pissed off this morning. Any other fan base in America would be on fire if the officials called a game against them the way that the refs did against Ohio State all night last night. Last night, everything that could have gone against Ohio State did, and everything that could have helped Clemson and benefited them did. They got the benefit of the doubt all night. That can't be debated. The refs loved Clemson last night, and that's just facts. And there's nothing we can do about it. But I think both things can be right at the same time. I think Ohio State fans can be pissed off because the officials hosed us all game. But I also think the other Ohio State fans and college football fans that say, hey, you had opportunities to win that game and you didn't capitalize. You didn't get it done. You can't blame so-and-so. You had chances. You didn't do it. I think they have an argument too. I think both sides can be right at the same time. There's reasons and then there's excuses. Ohio State just has a lot of reasons why they lost last night's game. But make no doubt about it, Clemson walked off that field damn lucky to get a win last night. And they know it. Dabo Swinney knows it. All those players know it. They felt Ohio State last night. The Buckeyes were the more physical team. They were the tougher team for the majority of that game. They were laying hits on Clemson all night long. Clemson was not laying the hits that Ohio State was. They just weren't. Ohio State clearly looked like the better team for the entire first half. But things didn't go our way. We made mistakes, and some calls that really changed the game went against us. Mistakes that Ohio State made. Number one, let's start with that. Ohio State was 0 for 4 in the red zone. Can't do that against a championship team. You can't get down in the red zone and kick a field goal every time and not score a touchdown. You can't do it. 0 for 4. That's not Clemson's fault. That's not the ref's fault. That's Ohio State's fault. That's number one. J.K. Dobbins, as great as he was, 140 rushing yards in the first quarter of this game, breaking the all-time Ohio State single-season rushing record. He dropped 2 touchdowns. Ohio State had a chance to be up 24-0 early in that game, but he dropped 2 touchdowns, so it was only 16-0. Then you have the Justin Fields interception on the last play of the game. Chris Olave fell. The ground was slick all game long. Somebody's going to have to answer to that. I don't know why everybody was slipping the entire game, but that's just unacceptable in a game of this magnitude. But Olave falls, Justin Fields throws an interception, Ohio State loses. And then we have the 95-yard drive that Ohio State's defense gave up with 4 minutes to go in the game. They gave up 95 yards in 4 plays. Ohio State's got the lead. They just punted. They pin Clemson deep in their own territory at their own 5-yard line. 4 minutes to go. They just need to stop and they win this game. But they let Clemson go 95 yards in 4 plays. Score just like that in a minute. So Ohio State made plenty of mistakes last night. Ryan Day, I thought, got a little conservative late in the game. Maybe you could say he should have went for it on 4th down when Ohio State had the lead instead of punting it back to Clemson. A couple of times on 3rd and 4, they ran the ball. Felt like he got a little bit conservative late. So those are all the mistakes Ohio State made. Now let's talk about all the things that went against them. So Ohio State up 16-0 about the midpoint of the second quarter. They have just gashed Brent Venables' defense. J.K. Dobbins is dominating. Clemson's offense can't get anything going. And they're at midfield, down 16-0. It's a big third down play. Ohio State brings the blitz. Shaun Wade comes in and just completely rocks Trevor Lawrence. He lays on the ground like he's hurt. So they say, hey, we got to review this now because he's hurt. They break it down in slow motion, see that Shaun Wade did make helmet-to-helmet contact. And Shaun Wade gets ejected from this game. Clemson gets a first down. Then they get a pass interference, and they score their first touchdown of the game. So just like that, it's 16-7. It's a 9-point game when Ohio State could have been up 24-0. And a call against Shaun Wade not only gives Clemson a first down, not only gives them a touchdown, but gets Shaun Wade ejected from this game. A huge impact player for this Ohio State defense. He's huge. We saw the Michigan game. Ohio State's defense is not the same when either Shaun Wade or Jeffrey Okudah are not on the field. It's just that simple. Brendan White transferred, Pryor transferred, so the secondary is not as deep as we once thought it was. Now, Ohio State fans can make the argument, Shaun Wade's coming in full speed. Trevor Lawrence, who is 6'6", ducks all the way down. You can see the still photo. He ducks all the way down. What was Shaun Wade supposed to do in that situation? I don't know. Not lead with your helmet. Don't leave it up to the official to make a call against you. But I think they have to change the rule on targeting. It's ridiculous to throw a kid out of a game who's worked his ass off all year for the biggest game of his life. And he's such an impact player for this Ohio State defense. They could get nothing going when Shaun Wade was on the field. So that play obviously turned the game. Ohio State lost all momentum. They had to punt. Clemson got the ball back. And Trevor Lawrence is all of a sudden 100% fine. He breaks off a 67-yard rushing touchdown, and boom, just like that, it's 16-14. It's a 2-point game, a few minutes before halftime, in a half that Ohio State should have been up 24-0, and they thoroughly dominated. But it's just a 2-point game at halftime. But I'm like, all right, it's a 2-point game. If you told me coming in we'd have a 2-point lead at half against Clemson, I'd probably take that. Clemson gets the ball at half. Ohio State's in a dangerous situation when they should have been up big, but we still got a chance. Clemson gets stopped. They're punting deep in their own end zone. And Ryan Day decides to come after the punter. They run into the punter, and Clemson gets the benefit of the doubt. Again, they call it roughing the kicker. He ran into the kicker. We have running into the kicker, and we have roughing the kicker. Roughing means intent. Running into the kicker means you ran into the kicker. He simply just ran into the kicker. So someone explain to me how running into the kicker is not ruled running into the kicker. It gave Clemson a first down when they would have still had to punt if it was only a 5-yard penalty, and they take advantage again. Credit to Clemson, they took advantage every time a call went their way. I will give them credit for that. Lawrence hits Etienne on a screen pass to the house. Ohio State down 21-16. They're down 5 points. And at this point, Ohio State is obviously in trouble. They let Clemson come back. They let them hang around. A lot of Ohio State mistakes, but at the same time, a lot of calls that have gone against them. Ohio State's down by 5. Offense still can't get anything going. They punt the ball back to Clemson. Trevor Lawrence throws the ball to Justin Ross. He takes 3 or 4 steps. Jeffrey Okudah comes in, knocks the ball out. Jordan Fuller picks it up, runs for a touchdown. Ohio State's going to take the lead again. They call it a fumble and a touchdown on the field, but they go to replay and say, nope, in real time, there wasn't enough time for him to have complete control and make a football move, which is complete BS. If you call it a fumble and a touchdown on the field, you got to stick with it in that situation. That's not indisputable evidence. It's just not. Even Joel Klatt and all the other big college football dudes got on Twitter and said exactly that. That's a terrible call. It just is. It's a bad call, and people are like, oh, well, by the rule book, it's this, it's that. No, dude. They called it a fumble and a touchdown on the field. They should have stuck with that. You see that replay in slow motion. He took 3.5 steps, brought the ball down, and Okudah knocked it out. You can't use slow motion against Shaun Wade in a targeting call and then use real time against Ohio State in that fumble for a touchdown. You can't have it both ways. Let's look at it in slow motion to see what really happened. That's how you see what really happened. I don't give a damn about real time. Show us in slow motion. That's the point of replay. So we can see it in slow motion and see he took 3 or 4 steps. Brought the ball down. Okudah knocks it out. So Ohio State gets a touchdown knocked off the board. They would have been playing with the lead there. I mean, that completely swings the game. Now Clemson has the ball up 5 instead of being down. Another play that goes Clemson's way. How much did they need to beat Ohio State last night? I mean, let's think about it. How much did they need to go their way to beat this Ohio State team? They needed Justin Fields to be banged up with the MCL. They needed J.K. Dobbins to be whatever was wrong with him, the ankle, after he just completely destroyed Clemson's defense in the first quarter of this game. They needed Shaun Wade ejected. They needed all these calls to go their way, and none at any point went Ohio State's way. Never. Never did Ohio State get the benefit of the doubt. But they still had opportunities. They're down 21-16. They get the ball back. Justin Fields hits Chris Olave, puts the Buckeyes up 23-21 with about 10 minutes to go. They force a Clemson punt. Ohio State gets the ball back, and they have a long drive. They're up 23-21. They're in Clemson territory. They just needed a couple more first downs. They had already drained 6 minutes off the clock. They just needed one more first down, but they couldn't get it. So, fourth down, 3. Should they have went for it in Clemson territory? Ryan Day decided to be conservative, punt the ball away to Clemson. They pin Clemson deep in their own territory at the 5-yard line, but they give up 95 yards in 4 plays. Clemson scores in a blink of an eye to take the lead back. They get the 2-point conversion. They're up 29-23. Ohio State, with 1:40 to play, has the ball. They got to go the distance of the field. They got 2 timeouts, and man, they were in business on that last drive. Dumping it off to J.K. Dobbins, Justin Fields starting to run a little bit, and they get all the way down to the Clemson 25-yard line. 45 seconds to play. Still have a timeout. Second down, and Justin Fields just made a bad decision. Ohio State made mistakes late when the room for error was just so slim at that point. The margin for error was non-existent at that point. But you can make a valid argument that they should have never been in that situation. 1, because they got hosed by the refs, and 2, because they made so many mistakes and left so many opportunities out there. So Justin Fields throws the pick. The game's over, 29-23. Clemson walks out with a win. They're celebrating, and Ohio State just has to take this devastating loss, and they don't get to go to the national championship. So now for last year players like Chase Young and Arnett and Okuda and all these guys, J.K. Dobbins, that are probably all going to leave, this is the way that they go out. But nobody can convince me that Ohio State wasn't the better team last night. They made mistakes, and it was too much to overcome the bad calls. It's just what it was. I'm not trying to make excuses. I know people are going to probably say, oh, you're just a crybaby Ohio State fan. I get it, man. This is my opinion. I think if you watched that game last night unbiased, you could tell Ohio State was the better team. They got the life sucked out of them by every call that went against them. So it's a tough loss. Who knows when Ohio State will be back in the playoff? Hopefully next year, but a lot of things are going to change. Jeff Hafley's gone. Mike Yurich probably going to take the Texas job. Whole bunch of dudes going to go to the NFL. We got a great class coming in, but you just never know when you're going to get this opportunity again. Justin Fields will be back. I'm worried about the running back position next year. I don't think Master Teague is close to J.K. Dobbins. What a year that J.K. Dobbins had. Breaking the Ohio State single-season rushing record. Right around 2,000 yards. I don't know if he went over 2,000 or right under 2,000, but a special season from J.K. Dobbins. I thought he was going to have his Zeke Elliott-type playoff run, so it's sad for me to see J.K. go out like that, getting injured, not being 100% the rest of that game. And guys like Chase Young, I felt like he didn't get any calls the last 3 games. Now, non-Ohio State fans will say he disappeared. He didn't do anything in the last 3 games. No sacks the last 3 games for Ohio State. Chase Young, who had 16.5 sacks in the first 8 games this year. Where was he? I don't think he got any calls that should have went against opposing teams. I just don't think he did. And Ryan Day's pissed off. I know he is. He's angry. He didn't want to say anything after this game. He's pissed, and I don't blame him. But both things are true from last night. Ohio State got hosed by the officials, but they also had so many opportunities to win, and they blew it. They just blew it. We could have won in spite of everything that went against us. And we could have said, we never got the benefit of the doubt. We had every call go against us, and we still beat you. That's how much better than you we are. That's what we could have said. And now we got to deal with 0-4 against Clemson. Clemson's your daddy. I think Clemson fans bragging about this win is just embarrassing. They got their asses kicked last night, but they won. I'll give Clemson a little bit of credit. Trevor Lawrence is faster than I thought he was. They took advantage when they had calls go their way. They took advantage of it, and I'll give them credit for that. Not trying to be, a sore loser, but I love Ohio State. This shit is personal every time I watch an Ohio State game. This team is always doubted. Nobody ever believes in this Ohio State team, and last night they had a chance to prove to the world what Ohio State is all about, and I still think they did that. It was a great game. I just didn't get a chance to enjoy it because it was such an emotional game. So many things went against Ohio State, so many mistakes. I didn't get a chance to truly just enjoy the game. But it's a tough loss. Ohio State fans, hold your head up. We still made a statement last night. Still showed the college football world what this Ohio State program is all about. And people will say, oh yeah, they choked, the Suckeyes, blah, blah, blah. You just can't worry about that. We know what this team was this year. They're not going to be forgotten. They're one of the great Ohio State teams of all time. They just came up a little bit short. It's a tough way to end the season, but we'll be back next year. Hungry, chip on the shoulder. Ryan Day is an absolute superstar as a coach. I hope he's here for the next 10 years. He's going to only make this program better every single year. So we'll be back, but this is a tough loss. But I want to hear from you guys, Ohio State fans, Clemson fans, other college football fans. What did you see in this game? Do you think Ohio State got hosed? Do you think Ohio State choked? Or do you think Clemson earned this win? I want to hear from other Ohio State fans. I really do. Because I know a lot are on the blame the officials side and a lot are on the we choked side. So leave me your comments down below. I'm going to be doing as many Ohio State videos as I can this offseason, NFL draft news, recruiting news, stuff like that. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. But leave me your comments down below. I thank anyone who watched this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I will check y'all later. Go Buckeyes, and peace out.